Guy goes, "You ain't gonna fall in too, are you?" I said, "What?" "That guy fell in a little bit ago. Did you hear it?" I said, "Oh man, I heard it." He said, "Well, he's watching his computer on his boat." This ain't gonna be a video slamming on forward-facing sonar. Radar love. I know I don't like it. I ain't never gonna like it. I ain't never gonna use it. I'm gonna talk about it some because there's some observations I made over several years now, and I think it's kind of funny. I love funny. I'll be right back. I'm Dale Verts. I'm the old guy doing old school things, bass fishing. Yeah, I am. I just took a drive around the block. I call it about a 4-something mile circle down through the woods, around some gravel roads, trying to cool off. It ain't even hot, is the sad thing. It's 77 degrees, humidity's up, been raining, it's just still. I've been working on my house, remodeled, second week, getting some stuff done. I bet y'all never would have thought you tuned to a bass fishing channel on YouTube and have some dude talking about remodeling his house. That's me, it's what I do. Hi, chicken. Forward facing sonar, I call it radar love. It's here for a while, if not here to stay, and I don't like it. Ain't never gonna like it. Don't even argue the point. I don't think it's right. But it's been around for a while. It's been the last 3 years or so that the impact's been seen and the fights have started and what have you. The first time I ever saw this was Scott Martin. He's a big Garmin guy. I think maybe he helped on some implementation of this technology, but he was showing it, and he was showing it in Florida, probably on Okeechobee where he lives. And he was showing the fish reacting to his baits, and I remember thinking, man, ain't that cool. Oops. Well, that would have been what, 2017 or 18? Because the fall of 18, I bought my transducer for my Garmin 93. And I never put it on my boat because the more I watched, the more I didn't like the idea of it. That never happened. I'm so glad for it. It's amazing what it's done to bass fishing and the rift it's created between folks that just love a sport so much. And yeah, it's the guys like me that create the contention. I get that. It ain't the guys using it. Mostly. They sure get on the fence real quick though. But this video, what I want to talk about is some things I've seen with forward face sonar all the way back to the beginning. The first time was this time of year, very early June, Lake of the Ozarks. Out of my old bass boat, my bass boat that I bought first when I came back to fishing. And that would have been 2020. Is that right? You know, it don't matter. It's been a while back. And I'm back in a creek, towards the back of the creek. That used to be my thing. It doesn't seem to work like that anymore. If the fish really get feeding after the spawn before they get deeper and things, and they go into those creeks and they feed, they wolf pack. And that morning, I'd already found a couple, 3 wolf packs. And sometimes you can catch a couple fish out of them and get on pretty quick. That's 3 to 5, maybe 7, and usually really nice bass. Solid keeper, 2.5, 3.5 pounder, occasional 4 or 5. And I'd already caught, I think, 2 that morning. No, I caught 1 and lost 1 anyway. So I'm in the back of this creek, and I'm just fishing a chunky bank with a square bill. But I'm looking for those fish. Once in a while, you'd see him herd brim. But there's a bass boat in the creek back further than I am. He's only in a couple 3-foot of water. Yeah, come on. And he's out there wandering around. And there's probably 30 acres of water back in here, and he's just wandering around. I didn't know what he was doing. And he got closer to me as I went down the bank. He come in towards me, and he's just looking down. He ain't fishing. And I got it. He's looking at that radar love screen. I'm not going to call it a cheater box. All those. It's just he's looking at his graph. And he didn't see me. He didn't see nothing. He was zoned on that. He's probably 35 yards from me, coming to me, and he still one time he zigzagged straight to the left, his left, and came back, and a fish busts a brim, I'm sure, maybe halfway between us, but almost direct line. He don't look up. He's kind of looking to his left again. I fired that square bow out and caught this 4-pound bass, 3 3/4 pound bass. And when it jumped, he looked up. And he actually was startled. I was there and I caught this bass. I remember thinking at the time, when a guy is more concerned about what's happening on that screen than he is what's happening in front of him, we have issues. Now again, I'm kind of poking fun, but anybody that watches my channel knows I poke fun at myself and make fun of myself as much as I do anybody else. So that's just the way it is. The next time I remember seeing impact was Truman Lake, August, early September maybe of 2021. Things are kind of getting back to normal on planet Earth, except for forward-facing radar love. I'm a sweaty, nasty. I got crap all over me. I got spider dew. I got bug dust. I got insulation. If I'm twitching, I can't help it. In my eyes. Man, do I go on a rant or what? I still didn't have a grasp of how, it was 2021's year I started complaining about it. Yeah, but I didn't have a grasp of how far-reaching this was. The crappie fishermen on Truman Lake, 6, 7 boats that day, sometimes 2 to a boat. Now, for several years, the spider rig guys, which I've always thought was kind of a weird way to fish, with all their poles, they put 2 seats right in front of the boat. They watch the graphs, so when they get over to the schools of crappie, they're ready. Well, that day, they had those 2 seats side by side in those boats, and they're all staring at the screen like a 11-foot brim pole. I just took me a little bit to get. They was looking at those fish and reaching out and making them. And it was everybody in the lake. Every crappie fisherman I saw that day was out in those big timber where we've caught crappie for years. No secret there. Crappie a little bit, they wander, but they're going to be in that timber. Anyway, it was all doing, every one of them. And no, and these weren't kids. These were old guys my age or older. I mean, of course, they can afford the technology maybe better. But it was really a surprise to me. And that was the first time, that was, like I said, late August, early September of 2021. It's the first time I realized how far-reaching it was, how many people are going to be doing it. Yep. I've mentioned this one before. The next time it was anything major was early July, late June of 2022. I was fishing at home lake of mine, lily pad fields. And it was mid-morning. I was waiting for the fish locking those pads for a flipping bite. They wander, they roam. I was waiting for them to get in. You'll see them schooling shad out in the lake, or probably the radar love guys can catch them. They're waiting for them to get in those pads. Sun coming up hot. And by the time I started getting the pads, getting serious, a boat puts in across the lake. It's a trollmotor lake, so I watch him come across. It's a bass boat. And he's 160 yards, 170 yards from me. And brand new, you see it's new boat, all the cool stuff. And he runs right into those pads. I mean, just runs right up in there, which most of those guys fringe them. And I'm making a shorter story. An hour and something later, we finally meet up. We come up kind of close to each other. And he's a nice guy. He had a nice little visit. But I watched him pretty much whoop my butt in that amount of time. I caught one solid keeper bass, maybe 3, 3.5, 3 3/4 pounds, and a couple dinks. And I watched him land at least 3 over 4 pounds. And the first fish he caught, I heard it splash, and he's up there over 100 yards away, and I see him wrestle this fish in. It's maybe a 5 or 6 pounder. It's a good fish. Well, but then I can't help but watch him. He backs out, and I see him go in and fish. Then he backs back out, he turns the boat and goes in and fishes. And where me, I'm fishing, and these pads are thick. I'm fishing, fish everything out, go 10 foot, fish. I mean, these pads, it's hard to get a boat through these pads. And I didn't realize at first till he got closer, he was staring at that computer screen again as he's watching TV. We talked about it. He said he just got the boat. He just retired at 40-something years old. He wanted to start tournament fishing. He felt like he had to have forward-facing sonar to survive, which that's what you hear a lot of. And he was whacking them. He asked me if there's any carp in the lake. I said, no, there's no carp. He said, well, There's two monster bass over there where that lay down log is. They're in about 6 foot of water. After about one group of, well, he ruined that spot for me because I ain't gonna go fish for him. He said he couldn't make them bite. He said that if he would constantly find 2 to 4 fish together. If he couldn't make them bite in a couple minutes, he just backed out and went to look for more, and he could tell pretty quick if it was gonna bite. Kind of spoiled my day. I remember quitting about noon that day with one more solid keeper, one not solid, one more good keeper fish. It was disappointing. Yeah. So who's right or wrong there? Probably I'm the wrong one, right? Last year I was fishing Lake of the Ozarks and fishing a bunch of docks. I saw a guy scoping the middle of the creek I was in, fishing fairly deep water, at 25, 30 foot, looking for brush pile fish. And I saw him wander around back in there, and he disappeared around a little bend behind some docks. And I heard a big old splash, and I heard some people saying some things. He's probably 50 yards in front of me. Directly, this guy comes out by me, idling his boat, and he kind of looks up and kind of does this and keeps on going. And I went in and fished all the way up through there, and these folks trying to dock, and guy goes, "You ain't gonna fall in too, are you?" I said, "What?" "That guy fell in a little bit ago. Did you hear it?" I said, "Oh man, I heard it." He said, "Well, he's watching his computer on his boat." I said, "Depth finder?" "Yeah, his depth finder. He's watching it, and he ran into the dock. Fell in." It's like guys with cell phones getting run over by cars or walking into water fountains. Oh, I'd love to, if I could have had that on video. That would have been the start of every video I do. Yeah, he walked right off the front deck of that. Spent a few minutes getting his rod and reel back. They helped him get that back, and he was a little bit embarrassed. Another 20-something-year-old guy, maybe. I know these stories ain't going nowhere. I'm not really trying to prove a point, but this is the biggest one for me so far. Besides talking to guys, the tournaments I've been fishing, I've got to have it to compete. I got to have it to compete. So yeah, I'm not gonna fault nobody for that. I don't like it. That's me. So I was fishing the Big Bass Bash in Lake of the Ozarks this spring, and I had just lost the biggest bass I had on the whole tournament, a money fish probably. I was back in a pocket, spawning pocket, pea gravel, and I'd come out. There was like 6 docks. Come out the last one. It was this long stretch of pea gravel, little bitty pretty pea gravel pocket, and back out to more docks. And this kid come in around the corner. I say kid, the flat brim. How do they wear that hat like that? That hurts my brain. Randy Blocker style, flat brim. Had the kid suit with the hood and the long sleeves. All you see is sunglasses. That's the modern way of looking. And some old guys do it too, but all the kids. And he come in there fishing, kinda. He was more scoping, I'm sure. And then he stops the boat. And I'm busy. I'm fishing. I look up and he's standing in the back of the boat. Now, there's a pretty good wind. He's in the back of the boat, fishing that little pocket on the side of that little point. He's probably throwing it, well, wherever. He's only in 6, 8 foot of water anyway. And he got that troll motor on spot lock up front holding the boat for him. First I couldn't figure out what he was doing. I figured out, well, he scoped a fish probably on the nest. He's not watching the scope anymore, but he knows that fish was. There's no place else for it to be. And by gosh, y'all, he sat there for 15, 20 minutes. I don't think he ever caught it. I never saw him catch it. To me, again, there's a fish. The water was fairly clear, but that fish was probably deep enough he couldn't really see it. I don't think. Maybe once he got it found, he could see it visually. I don't know. I didn't go over close to him. But he's got Trumar doing all his work for him, and he's standing there in one spot throwing to a fish that he found with his radar. And you know that ain't right. I don't care. A troll motor doing all the things I've learned in the years on how to position a boat, try to hold a boat, try to spook fish. That thing's up and running all by itself. Call me whatever. That's just wrong. I think that's wrong. It's just weird. And I get it. I'm the odd man out. Even at these little Tuesday tournaments I fish, I'm about the only guy. There's one tournament this spring was another John boat, a jet John boat from down one of the rivers around here. He'd have it on his boat. But mostly that's it. You go down the lake, you see john boat, bass boats, old boats, beat up boats. You can tell a lot of them have that white piece of PVC pipe where they got to transfer. They can turn it. You'll see them reach up and turn it. Have the boat anchored in timber, anchored on a point, and they'll turn that and they'll fish where, yeah. $3,000 worth of equipment plus on a boat that ain't worth $2,500. It's just the way it is because people want to catch more fish, I guess. And you can't tell me it ain't working. It's working or people wouldn't be doing it. And don't tell me it don't work in ultra shallow water. That guy in Lake Ozarks that day was up there in a couple 3 foot of water. The guy at my home lake was no deeper than 5 or 6 in heavy cover. It's how good are you with it? And you better get good with it, I guess. And like regular fishing, some people are better than others. Some people apply themselves more than others. I just don't get it. And I'm the odd man out in a lot of ways. But some of y'all appreciate that. Anyway, it's not anti-forward facing. I said this one's just about some of the crazy things. And even that, I got things like I said that are a little bit more nasty than that. But a guy falling in because he ain't paying attention, a guy don't see me because he ain't paying attention, that ain't fishing. Fishing's looking, observing, listening. There is a true zen to bass fishing. Maybe as much in bass fishing as in deer hunting. Zen in the outdoors is a perfect match. And forward face and radar love is not part of that match. I'm going to go. I can't keep my camera from burning up. It's hot. I'm burning up. I got more work to do. Again, God bless you guys. Thanks for watching. I'm going to try to go fishing tomorrow and do a better video about something else. See ya.